Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's good to see you all again. And I hope you all had a pretty good weekend. And, all my wrestling peeps out there. Hope you guys have been following us on, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all that, them good old jazz. I thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you lined up today. We have a nice little WWE Smackdown review, a WWE Monday Night Raw preview. We also have a little bit of AJ Styles talk. In a recent interview, he said he was actually planning on retiring. So, it's kind of crazy to see how that all mixes up with, you know, um, him recently winning that triple threat match, and he's going to fight the LA Knight to find out who's going to fight Cody Rhodes for his first, his title obligation, the new WWE undisputed champion, Cody Rhodes. And to kind of cap it all off, we're gonna do the buy, sell, hold. Where I'm a WWE executive, you're gonna pitch me storylines that could positively impact the sports entertainment world in terms of professional wrestling. So so we have a pretty dope show for you guys all today. But before we move on, we have, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips or donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions at the top of the list so I can see it. We can have a nice little conversation about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want me to further elaborate on. Tell me what I missed. By all means, no one's perfect. And it really helps the show, guys. A positive review. We love peace, love, and positivity at the GSMC Sports Network. Again, the link is at GSMCpodcast.net. All right, all right. Our first one, we had our WWE Smackdown review. It was a pretty good Smackdown, the first Smackdown after WrestleMania, and it lived up to the hype. He lived up, a lot of shakes and turns. Obviously, a lot of things for people to look forward to, especially as wrestling fans. And let's just get on into it. First, so Cody Rhodes came out first. Of course, you have the leader of the pack, the leader of the new era, the Paul Levesque era, Cody Rhodes. And I guess what The Rock gave to him in his hand was just something that he gave to The Rock in the past. Obviously, you kind of have that, that was kind of like what people were expecting. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, what was it? What was it? Was it his phone number? Was it?" I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. That would have been kind of weird, but, or whatever. But it was something that Cody gave to The Rock in the past, and he said, "Don't ever break my heart again." Obviously, The Rock, when he comes back to the WWE, is going to be back, better than ever, and he's going to come back huge. I feel like he's going to come back way better than before. He kind of had this final boss thing that kind of capped off the WrestleMania season, and to be honest, when you saw how the promos were taken on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown heading toward Mania, I felt like it didn't really reciprocate. It didn't really show on the grandest stage of them all, night one, night two. Of course, you had the trash talking, but it felt like Roman Reigns was kind of like in the background and The Rock was kind of like doing all the promos with Cody, as if The Rock and Cody were fighting for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but I don't know. I don't want to say it was a letdown because WrestleMania 40 has been one of the best WrestleManias by far within the WrestleMania era. Also within the WrestleMania era of when they started introducing night one and night two was because of, the whole, COVID pandemic and stuff like that. But I don't know. It was pretty cool. Cody Rhodes came out. He started talking about the six people that were going to challenge for his championship. Obviously, the number one contender. The first match kicked off right after that. We had the LA Knight versus Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar. This kind of got a little heated, during the triple threat match, usually you kind of have those, interferences because it's no disqualification. You can't really disqualify a guy. When someone gets hit by a chair, you can't pick, between the two. So you kind of had Legado del Fantasma come out to kind of help Santos Escobar. And then you had the Street Profits come out to help, Bobby Lashley. Well, the Street Profits didn't really step over like any boundaries. I guess they were more or less just kind of there to kind of protect the sanctity of the match, kind of like keep it pure, kind of keep it between these three guys that are fighting so hard to get the opportunity to fight Cody Rhodes at in France for Backlash. So Obviously, LA Knight picked up the victory. I kind of, I don't want to sound like a know-it-all and be like, oh, I was 90% sure that he was going to win. To be honest, I kind of thought, not, no, because Santos doesn't really, Santos is a mid-carder. Santos would never, ever, ever dream of fighting Cody Rhodes at any pay-per-view. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a hater, but that's just because Santos Escobar's, Santos Escobar. And Bobby Lashley, like I said before in a prior podcast, I believe he's kind of heading toward that fight with the megastar Logan Paul. And then Street Profits will challenge Austin Theory and Grayson Waller for their championships to kind of have that, continuity where you kind of have like a stable versus another stable, but you have two sets of different championships, which I think, obviously WWE should do if they, will they listen to me? God only knows. But and then so obviously the odd man out here is LA Knight. LA Knight, like he's kind of been over with the fans for so very long. He's kind of, he's that definition of the guy that's kind of like, took hits in a company, kind of like a Drew McIntyre, but if you pay attention to old WWE/WWF footage, once when there was promos when everybody was like kind of beating the hell out of each other, and then people like referees and officials like came out in the back to kind of separate the two individuals, you would see the LA Knight. I saw the LA Knight and I was like, oh my God, like I see that guy. Like holy like look at him now. Like so obviously that's cool for LA Knight. And honestly, is his time now to face Cody Rhodes? Maybe, just maybe. But, obviously we're open to it. He's set to face the man who won the triple threat match later on in the evening, which I'm going to talk about right now. Well, not right now. Kind of keep you guys, kind of keep you waiting, on the edge of your seat. Don't leave the podcast. Don't leave the podcast. I'll tell you right now, if you want to know, I will tell you right now. Don't leave me. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, moving on. We have Solo Sikoa. It's something kind of weird that I kind of noticed about Solo Sikoa, and y'all might think I'm a dork, but he got his own entrance music. Woo! Like, whoa, he got his own entrance music. Like, this is a big deal in the sense that he was always kind of the shadow to Roman Reigns, always kind of like, kind of like in Roman Reigns' shadow. And I think that's going to be kind of like a nice little stepping point toward any like storyline they do within like the bloodline from here on out. Like you're gonna have Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman right now, he's kind of like he's still on the tribal chief side. He's still trying to dictate things, like he's on the phone and stuff like that. But Solo Sikoa right now, he's bad. He's a bad boy. Like he wants to go on and he wants to do his own thing. He wants to be his own tribe. And you can't, obviously you had Tama Tonga debut, and there's WWE recently signed another member of the bloodline, well, in the bloodline family, not necessarily the bloodline in terms of like storyline perpetuated inside the WWE program, but this is something that Solo Sikoa, I feel like he needs to do because his character has been falling off for a very, very, very long time. He hasn't won since he beat John Cena in WrestleMania. It's to the point where people see Solo Sikoa and they're like, who cares? When he comes on the screen and starts talking crap, who cares? When he fights in a match and like when he wins, I gotta be honest, based on his track record, who cares? Like I know that sounds like kind of like shiitake mushrooms to kind of say, but you have to kind of like play along with what WWE is trying to do here. Like I feel like Solo Sikoa kind of got the last of like what Vince McMahon wanted to do with like his character. So now I feel like Triple H is kind of playing that like that PR role where he's playing damage control. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, that's kind of a right terminology. Where he's playing damage control, where he hopes Vince McMahon didn't like f up Solo Sikoa's character too much, because this storyline that could be perpetuated and that could be like a possible like Civil War thing. It's nuts. It's so cool. Imagine if you had Solo Sikoa, The Rock, Roman Reigns behind the scenes, pulling the strings, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just like a giant war. Kind of like, I don't know if anybody's like a Marvel fan where you watch Civil War where Iron Man and like Steve Rogers broke up. Steve Rogers was kind of like he was the baby face of the WWE, which I believe once when Roman comes back, he will kind of be the baby face. He'll kind of look at what happened between Solo Sikoa and be like, "Hey, what are you doing? This isn't what I told you to do." And then Solo Sikoa is gonna beat the heck out of him, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" And then Paul Heyman's is like, he's gonna be forced to choose between, you know, Roman Reigns, who's all by himself, kicked out of the bloodline, or stick with the majority and stay with Solo Sikoa. I want to say Jacob Patu, also Tama Tonga. So like kind of like the three, but I don't know. There's just a number of different things that can come from this storyline if they don't, f it up. Which I hope they don't, which I trust Paul Levesque, and I feel like, he'll do what it takes to do it. But let's talk about Tama Tonga, man. Like he came out guns blazing. He's been in the independent circuit for such a long time. You talk about a guy who worked his ass off to kind of, he's been part of the family. There's a reason why he's been part of the family and not have been broadcasted on the main card, e.g., Raw and SmackDown, or even NXT. Like, why did it take them so long to notice a talent like Tama Tonga? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's because Vince McMahon isn't in charge anymore. Paul Levesque saw this guy, he saw, the potential, and he brought him onto his program. And to be honest, he came back, and he came back big, big. Like, there's nobody that's ever made a debut like this, especially when everybody kind of, it was after WrestleMania, Roman Reigns lost, The Rock is leaving to film another movie. The Bloodline storyline looked dead in the water, but it was it was, kind of refurbished thanks to this guy teaming up with Solo Sikoa, and I'm into it. I'm for it. I can't wait to see what happens. And congratulations to Tama Tonga for finally making it up to the WWE standards. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, trying to be like WWE's like, but in terms of like money and revenue, like you kind of have the independents and stuff like that, and WWE is kind of like this, it's like steroids. It's like the Barry Bonds of baseball right here. Any Barry Bonds fans? I'm sorry, I don't mean to, you know, to insult your favorite athlete. No, I'm just kidding. But let's move on here. Essentially, Jimmy Uso has been kicked out of the bloodline. A lot of us saw this kind of coming, and in terms of Jimmy Uso, I feel kind of bad because I don't think he really has a crutch to stand on, so to speak. Like, I don't think he can make it as a singles wrestler. Let's just face it, he can't. He kind of burned any bridges with his brother, Jay. But honestly, what Jimmy needs to do right now and Jay is they need to come together. They need to come together, fight the bloodline, and then the more and more they kind of gain ground is the more and more you're gonna see other like wrestlers from this family like kind of come in to kind of protect each other and stuff like that, leading to an ultimate like bloodline civil war. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be as soon as SummerSlam. SummerSlam seems like it's a little too close, a little too forced. And what WWE has kind of shown in the past, if you try to force a storyline, it's going to end up like crap. It's not going to look good. The production's not going to look good. The promos, the build up, and like just think about it. And how long did WWE fans wait to see Cody Rhodes finish his story? 2 years. 2 years. A feud with Brock Lesnar. A feud with Shinsuke Nakamura. A feud with the Bloodline over and over again. A feud with the final boss. The feud with just anybody who came in Cody Rhodes' way. And then he had to win the Royal Rumble twice. But all in all, guess what? We all been into it. It was the best WrestleMania main event of all time, and it's going to be something that us wrestling fans, kind of moving forward with our, with our experience and just with our passions toward the business, is you can kind of look at each other and be like, hey, like, remember when Cody Rhodes finished his story WrestleMania 41 against Roman Reigns? I was there. I saw that. If I ever miss the birth of any more children moving forward, I'll be happy because I saw Cody Rhodes finish his story. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty messed up. Don't tell my wife. I'm just kidding. All right, moving on before we run out of time here. So Braun Breaker looks pretty impressive. Braun Breaker, he was in one of those matches where you kind of just throw a guy at him, and he was able to do it. Obviously he not dedicated. He announced himself into the WWE draft, and he's going to be a hot ticket. He's going to be hotter than Caitlin Clark going into the WNBA draft. I'm just kidding. That's comparing apples to oranges here. I don't know if anybody really watches women's college basketball, but it was pretty hot this year. It was pretty good. It was very, very good. It actually outdid the men's in terms of viewership. I think that's pretty cool for women's sports. But Braun Breaker ain't no Caitlin Clark. Uh, obviously, I'm moving on before I say anything else dumb. Next we had the Bailey promo, who she wanted to fight her friend Naomi, and ultimately Tiffy Time came out and basically said she beat Naomi, and so why is she getting a title shot? Why is this happening? She can't, she's not as good as I am. But Bailey, they fought each other. Tiffany Stratton lost, which I kind of disagree with because I would rather see a Tiffy versus Bailey kind of at this moment because you saw the Naomi and Bailey story like over and over again. You saw them in the match like countless times together. Obviously, they've been in the company for such a long time. Honestly, damn, I would say like decades. These girls have been fighting each other for decades, dude. So I don't know. I was kind of hoping that but then again, we do have a lot of time left till until Backlash, until the next pay per view. So hey, like it'd be awesome to kind of have this triple threat match or something like that. So I don't know. That's pretty cool. Next, you have the Street Profits and the Catch Republic, kind of looking at Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Kind of like what I said before in the prior podcast is, look, I like Pete Dunne, I like Tyler Bates, great individuals, talented superstars, absolutely. But honestly, I kind of miss seeing the Street Profits in that main tag team card. I really, honestly do. They're talented individual. Montez Ford, D'Angelo Dawkins, those guys, they're insane to watch and they know how to put up a good match and cut good promos. Why not put the strap on them? Like it's cool that Austin Theory and Grayson Waller won. You have to hate down under. How clever is that nickname? Oh, who made up that nickname for you? Was it a seventh grader in middle school? I'm just kidding. No, no, I'm not talking trash. But anyways, I think it's the Street Profits' chance. I think it's their time. I think WWE should definitely put the straps on them. But hey, I'm just your average wrestling fan. Who knows? Next we had Chelsea Green and Piper Nevin challenge. There was an open challenge, and ultimately it was Jade and Bianca once again. Chelsea getting her butt kicked by this newly formed tag team between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, which is going to be absolutely dominant. If they keep up with this, there's no way that the Kabuki Warriors can defeat these two girls because they're insane. They're physical specimens. They're so talented. I don't like this tag team between Bianca and Jade. They could probably beat like the Awesome Truth for the WWE Raw tag titles. That's how talented these women are. So I know honestly, come on WWE, come on. I'm just kidding. To kind of cap it all off here, we had the Rey Mysterio versus Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. This was kind of a big deal because recently you kind of had that AJ Styles LA Knight kind of feud. So Rey Mysterio, I love Rey Mysterio. He's a legend. He's a trailblazer. Obviously, you see a lot of Latin American wrestlers, kind of like Kalisto, also like members of the LWO, kind of come into this thing where they're kind of being respected. And I'm not trying to throw stones here. But in the past of like WWE, usually it was always the Latin American wrestlers who never really had a chance to kind of make a name for themselves. Like, of course, you had, Eddie Guerrero who came out and he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And then you also had Rey Mysterio, who once when Eddie passed, vowed to, win the championship for him ultimately. And Rey Mysterio made it out. He was the WWE, champion. And, he did it. He did it. But is he going to be WWE champion to fight Cody Rhodes? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's nothing against Ray. Nothing against Ray. Next, we have Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens fight. I like how he's not a bad guy, not a good guy. This is something that I feel like the WWE should have did for Kevin Owens a long, long time ago. Like, cut with this heel like bullshit. Cut with this like babyface stuff. Sometimes you kind of need to just let the people like be mellow, kind of like what you see in the UFC, and I feel like that's what TKO Endeavor and also The Rock kind of told a WWE creative, and also Paul Levesque probably said, like, hey, like WWE has always been founded on this concept of babyface and, heel. So why don't we just kind of let them be their own creative? Recently, they've cut the cord in terms of talking to the announcers and telling them what to say, and kind of just giving people a lot of freedoms. We love freedoms, and it has been very, very good for WWE. So honestly, there's something good I took in here, but anyways, moving on. I know that was one a little too long. Next we have Monday Night Raw preview. So don't go anywhere. We'll hit on that like right now. So yeah,